Why does Rolex do this? Why do they love to deprive Rolex lovers of joy? Because just imagine this. One person wanted to celebrate his achievements by buying a Rolex. This was his lifelong dream. But after walking into 3 Rolex authorized dealers with cash in hand, ready to buy a Datejust 41, the watch he'd worked toward for years, the symbol of everything he'd accomplished, and they wouldn't sell him one. Not because he couldn't afford it, not because they didn't have it, but because he didn't have purchase history, because he wasn't part of the relationship. And this is the part that'll make your blood boil. They had the watch sitting in a safe in the back. They just didn't want to sell it to him. Welcome to buying a Rolex in 2025. Rolex hates you. That's not me being dramatic. That's an actual article title that went viral. And in the comments, thousands of people agreed, sharing their own horror stories, venting frustration that's been building for years. Visit any watch forum, and you'll find the same sentiment repeated over and over. I used to love Rolex. Now I hate them. But here's the twist. While collectors are saying how much they hate Rolex, those same people are still desperately trying to buy Rolex watches. While forums explode with criticism, Rolex continues dominating luxury watch sales. While the hate intensifies, demand remains insane. So what's really happening? Is everyone actually turning on Rolex, or is something more complicated going on? Today, we're breaking down exactly why Rolex has become the most hated watch brand in enthusiast circles, and why that hate doesn't matter at all to their bottom line. Let's get into it. The hate is real, and here's why. Let's not sugarcoat it. The criticism of Rolex isn't just a few angry forum posts from people who couldn't get the watch they wanted. It's a widespread, years-long accumulation of frustration that's reached a boiling point. I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest complaints, the ones that keep appearing again and again across forums, social media, and customer reviews. Complaint 5, the buying experience is humiliating. Remember that quote from the opening? The guy who walked into dealers with money and walked out with nothing? His experience isn't unique, it's standard. Here's how buying a Rolex actually works in 2025. You walk into an authorized dealer. The display cases are full of beautiful watches. Submariners, GMT Masters, Daytonas, your heart races. This is it. The moment you've been working toward, you approach a salesperson. I'd like to buy that Submariner. They smile, but it's not a friendly smile. It's a you poor, naive fool smile. That's for exhibition only, they say. We can't actually sell it to you. You're confused. The watch is right there, but it isn't at the same time. You see, with Rolex, you have to do a little dance. You have to express interest and join their wait list. The list. That mythical, mysterious list that everyone talks about but nobody understands. No one knows how long the wait list is, and the staff makes that pretense too. They know how long it would be, they know you aren't a priority, but they wouldn't tell you when. And when you press and do ask, they'll condescendingly tell you that they don't work like that, and they'll call you. But what they don't add is, they might not call you at all. Then here comes the sucker punch. The salesperson at the store will then ask you if you are interested in building a relationship with them. You should look at some of the other things that they sell. They'll ask you to look at a diamond necklace, earrings, or some other Tudor pieces they have available. At this point, your dance with them is nearing the peak. To show interest, they'll need you to buy stuff you don't need before you get stuff you actually want. That does seem like an exploitation of a customer, or does it not? To Rolex, it isn't. It is a continuation of a tradition. One collector on Watch You Seek described it perfectly. Get you to buy a load of expensive high-margin jewelry and watches that you don't want, on the off chance you may buy your way onto a list for a Rolex sports watch that you do. Oh, and add in a good bit of making you feel like they're doing you a favor by allowing you to dirty their thick pile carpet. That's not a shopping experience. That's humiliation, and unfortunately, that humiliation is just beginning. Complaint 4, the list is completely made up. Let me share something that'll make this even worse. The waitlist doesn't really exist. Oh, authorized dealers will tell you there's a list. They'll take your name, your number, your email. They'll nod sympathetically about how long the wait is. They'll make you feel like you're in a queue, like eventually your number will be called. It's a theater, and you are an actor in it for free. One watch dealer who writes under the name Watches of Espionage admitted this openly. "I have cut the list many times. I said this was my first modern Rolex, which is only partially true. Over the past few years, I have used my connections to buy several new Rolexes for friends, those who were waiting on the list but couldn't get an allocation themselves." Translation: if you have connections, you skip the line. If you don't, you wait forever. Another dealer in Cheshire, England, was even more blunt. Most, if not all, boutiques have several coveted steel sports models for sale in a safe in the back. They just don't want to sell them to you. Think about that. The watch you want exists. It's sitting 20 feet away in a locked drawer, and they're choosing not to sell it to you because you're not important enough. The list isn't first come, first served. It's not based on who's waited longest. It's based on how much jewelry you've bought, how many other watches you've purchased, whether the salesperson likes you, whether you're a local celebrity, or whether you know someone who knows someone. One frustrated buyer summarized it perfectly. Rolex wait lists aren't wait lists. They're who do we like lists. And if you're not already in the club, good luck getting in. You can go through the motions and play their little game. You can visit their stores constantly to express interest and build a genuine relationship with the staff, so they'll remember you. You can choose to go to events so they'll see you as a genuine Rolex person and not a flipper who wants to make a quick buck. Or you can buy less desirable watches or jewelry before granting access to hot models. If you want a Daytona, buy a Datejust first. Want a Submariner? Maybe start with a gold day date. This is not an official Rolex policy, and of course dealers will never admit it openly. However, countless buyers report the same experience, and these dealers actually justify this. The justification sounds like this: if you're a real Rolex enthusiast, you should appreciate the whole collection, not just the hyped steel sports models. Do you think this makes any sense? Critics call it extortion. Spending $15,000 on a watch you don't want just to access a $10,000 watch you do want feels manipulative. Defenders call it normal business, rewarding customers who support the full operation instead of cherry-picking the most profitable pieces. It happens, and if you refuse to play along, you're competing against people who will. Your principles may be admirable, but they won't get you a Daytona. This entire system, relationship building, spending history, visibility requires time, money, and patience. For some buyers, it's worth it to eventually get watches at retail. For others, they'll pursue an alternative. They'll turn to the gray market's instant availability. But even that is crazy because the gray market can be a dog-eat-dog world. There is no universally correct choice, only trade-offs. What is undeniable? Walking into an authorized dealer cold and expecting immediate access to desirable Rolex models will fail 99 times out of 100. The system rewards established customers. Becoming an established customer requires deliberate effort over long periods. If you're not willing to invest that effort, you're not getting the watch through authorized channels. But isn't it interesting? Rolex makes around 1.1 million watches, far more than their competitors. So, how come there's an unpredictable wait list in the first place? What did all the watches go? Complaint 3. It's everywhere and nowhere. Rolex is a contradiction, and here's the contradiction that drives people crazy. Rolex is simultaneously too common and impossible to get. During the 2021 to 2022 hype bubble, Rolex sports models became status symbols. Suddenly, everyone had one, or claimed to have one, or wore a fake that looked close enough. Walk through Nice, France in summer 2023, Rolex Submariners everywhere. Visit Miami Beach, Daytonas on every third wrist. Check Instagram, influencers posing with GMT masters they'd never actually wear. The brand that was supposed to represent exclusivity started feeling common. One collector online complained, "I see more Rolex Submariners than I see iPhones now. It's not special anymore, it's just ubiquitous." But here's the maddening part. While Rolex watches seem to be everywhere, actually buying one remained impossible. You'd see 10 people wearing Submariners at a restaurant, then walk into an authorized dealer and find empty display cases. You'd scroll Instagram and see 50 unboxing videos, then get told there's a 3-year wait list. The cognitive dissonance is infuriating. If they're so common, why can't I buy one? If they're so scarce, why does everyone seem to have one? The answer, of course, is the gray market. Flippers were buying from authorized dealers and immediately reselling at premiums. Fakes flooded the market, and regular people who just wanted to buy a watch legitimately got shut out. As one authorized dealer in Cheshire admitted, every AD you visit that doesn't have a single watch for sale has a flipper on the same street that has 5 brand new examples of every model. It's naive to believe they aren't coming from the AD. So the market was simultaneously saturated by gray dealers and starving legitimate customers at authorized dealers. No wonder people are furious. Although that has normalized a bit in recent years, and there is one thing that Rolex critics are calling the new normal at Rolex, and that's why we have this next complaint. Complaint 2. They're boring and overpriced. Once you get past the buying experience frustration, there's a deeper criticism. Rolex watches themselves aren't that impressive anymore. This argument goes like this. Rolex trades on heritage and marketing, not innovation. Their movements are solid but unexciting. Their designs haven't fundamentally changed in decades. They release one new dial color per year and call it innovation. Meanwhile, competitors are pushing boundaries. Omega has coaxial and master chronometer movements with superior magnetic resistance. They've partnered with James Bond for decades. They went to the moon, and you can walk into an Omega boutique today and buy a Seamaster, no waitlist, no games. Grand Seiko offers finishing quality that rivals or exceeds Rolex at half the price. Spring drive technology is genuinely innovative. Their dials are works of art, and they're actually available for purchase. Independent watchmakers like FP Journe, Alanga and Sona, and Vacheron Constantin create complications and craftsmanship that make Rolex look pedestrian. So why does a Submariner cost $10,650 when a Grand Seiko diver with better finishing costs $6,000? Marketing, brand recognition, the crown logo. One collector summed it up. Rolex is reliable, Rolex is well made, but it's marketing over horology. They're selling you a logo, not a masterpiece. And then there are the price hikes. In January 2025, prices jumped 4.8% on average, with gold models up 7 to 19%. May 2025, another 3% increase in the US, 2 price hikes in 5 months, while wait times stay long. While availability stays terrible, while customer service stays frustrating, the value proposition starts looking questionable. But we've got to add this. Looks like Rolex has taken this complaint personally because they went crazy in 2025. They designed a watch that has over 30 parents. Which watch is that? You've probably seen it in some of our other videos. Rolex unveiled the Oyster Perpetual Land Dweller in April 2025 at the Watches and Wonders. That watch right now is a technological marvel. It has the Caliber 7135, Rolex's first high-frequency movement, beating at 5 Hz, which means it has 36,000 vibrations per hour. Most watches beat at 4 Hz, 28,800 vibrations per hour, which makes the 5 Hz revolutionary. It's faster, more precise, theoretically it should be more accurate. But it's also harder to build and maintain because faster oscillation means more energy consumption and more wear on components. So how did Rolex pull this off? They went from being sad and boring to developing a completely new escapement system, the Dynapulse, that makes 5 Hz practical. Looks like Rolex doesn't want to drop that crown anytime soon, and once this new watch becomes more mainstream, complaint number 1 will go through the roof. Complaint 1, the Rolex owner stereotype. People don't just hate Rolex watches. They hate Rolex owners. Or more specifically, they hate a certain type of Rolex owner. You know the guy, the Ro Bro, the dude who wears a Submariner to the gym and makes sure everyone sees it, the Instagram finance bro with 3 Daytonas who calls them investments, the status chaser who bought a GMT Master purely because Patrick Bateman wore one in American Psycho. These people have become the face of Rolex ownership, and they're insufferable. Visit any watch forum and you'll find threads mocking Rolex guys. They talk about the call like it's receiving the Nobel Prize. They humble brag about purchase history. They measure success by how many Rolexes they own. They treat watches as status symbols instead of appreciating horology. It can be insufferable to bear. One Reddit user nailed it. Rolex attracts people who want to be seen wearing Rolex. Grand Seiko attracts people who want to wear a great watch. It's the same phenomenon that makes people hate Yankees fans or Patriots fans. It's not necessarily about the team itself, it's about the obnoxious fans who make supporting that team part of their identity. Rolex has become the luxury watch equivalent of driving a BMW and not using turn signals. So, those are the complaints. Humiliating buying experiences, fake wait lists, ubiquity paired with scarcity, boring designs, price hikes, and obnoxious owners. With all that hate, you'd think Rolex was in trouble. You'd think sales were collapsing. You'd think they'd be scrambling to fix their reputation. But here's where it gets interesting. None of that is happening. Let us show you the numbers. The hate doesn't matter. Here's why. All right, so we've established that Rolex criticism is real, widespread, and justified. Collectors are furious. Forums are filled with rants. Customer reviews are brutal. And yet, Rolex is thriving and absolutely dominating. Let us break down why all that hate is essentially meaningless to Rolex's bottom line. Reality check 6. Rolex dominates every metric that matters. Let's look at cold, hard data, Rolex's market share. Rolex represents roughly 30% of the entire Swiss luxury watch market by value. That's more than Omega, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet combined. Their revenue is estimated to be 10 billion Swiss francs in revenue in 2024, a 20% increase over 2019 pre-pandemic levels. That's not all. The Rolex production is not easing. Rolex manufactures approximately a little over 1 million watches annually, and they sell every single one at full retail price. Zero discounting, zero closeouts. Complete sell-through. What's more, they've tamed the secondary market. Even after the 2022 to 2023 correction, Rolex watches still dominate resale values. The brand represents 50% of the $30 billion global pre-owned luxury watch market. Overall, the brand's value still remains at its peak. In luxury brand rankings, Rolex consistently places in the top 10 globally, ahead of Ferrari, Hermès, and Cartier. These aren't the numbers of a brand in crisis. These are the numbers of a brand that's completely untouchable. Which leads us to the second reality check, number 5. Reality check 5. Demand remains insane. Despite all the complaining, people still desperately want Rolex watches. Steel Daytonas still have 2 to 5 year wait lists. Some authorized dealers won't even add new customers to the list. The GMT Master 2, Pepsi makes people wait for 18 to 36-month waits, even after availability improvements. For Submariner Date, waits have dropped from 2 years to 2 to 6 months for most buyers, but that's still a wait list. People are still waiting. Also, every single 2025 announcement trended on social media. YouTube unboxing videos hit hundreds of thousands of views. Forums filled with speculation and excitement. If people actually hated Rolex, they wouldn't care about new releases. They'd move on to other brands. But they don't. They complain. And then they keep trying to buy. And even when they don't get from official sources, there's always the secondary market, and this is why we have this next reality check. Reality check 4. The secondary market proves demand. Secondary market prices tell you everything you need to know about real demand versus forum noise. After the 2022 bubble burst, pre-owned Rolex prices dropped 10 to 30% from peaks. Critics celebrated. But prices stabilized by late 2024 and started rising again in 2025, this time completely on Rolex's terms. But still, the secondary market remains a pricier choice. Just look at the current premium over retail for popular models. The Daytona 126500LN is 50 to 130% premium. It costs $22,977 to $33,455. However, it costs $15,250 at retail. These aren't fire sale prices. These are people willingly paying massive markups to avoid authorized dealer games. If Rolex was really losing its appeal, gray market prices would collapse to retail or below. Instead, they're holding premiums that would make most brands jealous. And other brands are about to get even more jealous because people still cheer for Rolex. And on that note, let's talk about the third reality check. Reality check 3. Positive sentiment still exists. It's just quieter. Here's the thing about online forums. Negativity is louder than positivity. People who successfully bought their dream Rolex post one "I got the call" thread, then move on with their lives. People who've been waiting 3 years post angry rants every week. On Reddit, despite complaints, people still talk positively about Rolex. Just picked up my sub posts have hundreds of congratulatory comments. The same goes for X, formerly Twitter, too. Search Rolex and you'll find as many posts celebrating purchases, sharing wrist shots, and praising designs as you'll find complaints. The ratio is probably 60-40 positive to negative. On YouTube, Rolex unboxing videos consistently hit hundreds of thousands of views. Channels dedicated to Rolex reviews have millions of subscribers. That doesn't happen if people actually hate the brand. The hate is real, but so is the love. And the love might actually be stronger. It's just less noisy, and it will remain so as long as Rolex is the gateway brand for many. What do I mean? Let me explain. Reality check number 5. Rolex as gateway brand. Here's something forum critics don't want to admit. For 99% of people, Rolex is the first luxury watch brand they learn about. Ask someone who doesn't care about watches to name a luxury watch brand. They'll say Rolex. Show them a photo of an Omega, Patek Philippe, and Rolex. They'll recognize the Rolex, give them $10,000, and tell them to buy a luxury watch. Most will choose Rolex. The brand recognition is unmatched. The cultural cachet is unparalleled. And that creates a pipeline. Someone saves up and buys their first Rolex, usually a Datejust or Oyster Perpetual. They fall in love with mechanical watches. They start researching. They discover Omega, Grand Seiko, JLC, Zenith. Many branch out. Some become collectors with dozens of brands. But they started with Rolex. And most keep at least one Rolex in their collection, even as they explore other brands. Rolex isn't just a watch brand. It's the gateway drug to the entire hobby. And that pipeline ensures demand will never disappear, no matter how much enthusiasts complain. And so haters can continue to hate, and what if we told you Rolex actually wants the hate? Reality check number 1. The hate is exactly what Rolex wants. And now we come to the uncomfortable truth that explains everything. Rolex benefits from the hate. Think about it. What drives desire more than scarcity? What makes something more valuable than being told you can't have it? The wait lists, the authorized dealer games, the empty display cases, the exhibition-only signs, the relationship-building nonsense. All of it creates frustrated desire. And frustrated desire is the most powerful marketing tool in existence. If Rolex made every model available for walk-in purchase tomorrow, demand would crater. The brand would lose its mystique. It would become common. But by making it hard, by making people wait, by forcing them to jump through hoops, by creating an experience so frustrating that people rant online for years, Rolex ensures that finally getting the call feels like winning the lottery. The hate is the hype. Every forum thread complaining about Rolex is free marketing. Every YouTube video titled "Why I'll Never Buy Rolex Again" gets hundreds of thousands of views from people who now want a Rolex even more. Every Reddit rant about authorized dealer games makes lurkers think, I could figure out that system. Rolex doesn't need to advertise. The hate advertises for them. So the hate is real. The complaints are valid, the criticism is justified. But none of it matters because Rolex has built a brand so powerful that negative sentiment actually strengthens demand. It's psychological genius. And it reveals something about us as consumers that we probably don't want to admit. The bigger picture. What this reveals about luxury. Step back from Rolex for a moment, because this phenomenon isn't really about watches. It's about how luxury works in the 21st century. Traditional luxury was about quality and craftsmanship. You paid more because the thing was better made with better materials and lasted longer. Modern luxury is about scarcity and signaling. You pay more because other people can't have it. Because owning it communicates status. Rolex has perfected modern luxury. Their watches are well made, yes, but they're not 10 times better than a $600 Seiko or even twice as good as a $4,000 Omega. This creates a paradox. The worse the buying experience, the more desirable the product. The more exclusive the access, the more people want access. Rolex can treat customers terribly because terrible treatment reinforces exclusivity, and exclusivity is the product. You know who else mastered this? Apple. Think about iPhone launches, long lines outside stores, sold-out inventory, waiting lists, limited supplies of the cool colors, people camping overnight for a chance to buy. Is an iPhone technically superior to a Samsung or Google phone? Debatable. But Apple has convinced the world that owning an iPhone means something, that it's aspirational. Those people who can't afford one wish they could. Sound familiar? Rolex is Apple in watch form. And just like Apple, the criticism doesn't matter because the brand transcends the product. Successful brands attract hate. It's inevitable. The New York Yankees have been hated for decades. Does it hurt them? No. They're still the most valuable franchise in baseball. Their merchandise outsells everyone. Their brand is global. Tom Brady and the Patriots were hated for 20 years. Did it slow them down? No. Brady became the greatest quarterback ever, while half of America rooted against him. Ferrari gets criticized for being overpriced, unreliable, and pretentious. They sell every car they make at massive premiums. Rolex is in this category. Being hated is a sign of dominance. It means you're so successful that you've become the villain everyone loves to hate. And that villain status, it's valuable. It keeps you relevant. It keeps people talking about you. So if you're someone trying to buy your first Rolex in 2025, what should you do? Let's do a recap. Option 1. Play the game. Find an authorized dealer. Build a relationship. Buy some jewelry. Wait patiently. Eventually, you might get the call. You'll have the authentic experience and the satisfaction of beating the system. Option 2. Buy gray market. Pay the premium. Skip the wait. Accept that you're paying extra for convenience, but you get the watch immediately. Option 3. Buy a different brand. Omega, Grand Seiko, Tudor, JLC, Zenith all make incredible watches with none of the authorized dealer nonsense. You'll get better value, better customer service, and you'll support brands that actually want your business. Option 4. Buy pre-owned. Certified pre-owned programs through Rolex ADs or reputable gray dealers offer authenticated watches with warranties at prices often below current retail. All 4 options are valid. It depends on what you value: the experience, the convenience, the value, or avoiding the game entirely. Just don't expect Rolex to change. They have zero incentive to make buying easier. The current system works perfectly for them. Conclusion. The hate will continue and so will the demand. So here we are. It's 2025. Collectors are angrier at Rolex than ever. Forums are filled with rants. Customer reviews are scathing. The buying experience remains humiliating. Waitlists persist. Prices keep rising. And Rolex keeps winning. Because here's the ultimate truth. The hate and the demand come from the same source. People hate Rolex because they can't get one, and they want one because they can't get it. It's a perfectly designed feedback loop that ensures Rolex will remain the most discussed, most desired, most dominant luxury watch brand for decades to come. Will anything change? Probably not. Rolex is building massive new factories that will eventually increase production. Waitlists are already improving for non-hyped models. The certified pre-owned program is expanding. Availability is genuinely getting better. But Rolex will never make enough Daytonas. They'll never eliminate waitlists entirely. They'll never stop prioritizing VIP customers. Because the moment they do, they stop being Rolex. So the hate will continue. The complaints will multiply. The forum threads will keep appearing. And through it all, Rolex will keep manufacturing 1 million watches per year, selling every single one at full price, and dominating the luxury watch market so completely that even their critics can't stop talking about them. Love them or hate them, and plenty of people genuinely hate them, you can't ignore them. That's the Rolex paradox. and it's not changing anytime soon. What about you? Do you love Rolex or hate them? Have you had a terrible authorized dealer experience, or did you successfully navigate the system and get your dream watch? And if you found this breakdown valuable, like this video and hit subscribe. We're covering the luxury watch world without the usual marketing BS, just honest analysis of what's really happening. See you in the next one.